Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So this is my very first video and half, feeling half excited, half a little bit nervous, but I'm gonna get through this. So if you don't know me from Instagram, I go by the name of Mrs. Mommy Holiday. I wanted to make my first video about something I am actually very passionate about, which is homeschooling. I have had several people, whether it be online or in person, ask me about homeschooling, how to get started, and just the basics of it. So I wanted to give a little video of a rundown of, the steps that I took personally for when I started to homeschool my son. I've written down my little plan here. I've written down my steps, and I've written down, any notes that I want to tell you guys. So without further ado, these are the steps to begin homeschooling. However, also, I am in the New York area, so this is going to be specifically for New York State. If you are not in New York State or not in New York City, then you would have to check with whichever city or state that you're in, just to make sure that these rules apply to you as well, or just to make sure that you are following the proper guidelines. So one of the first things I did when I wanted to start homeschooling my son was I gathered together the reasons for homeschooling him. And I gathered together any types of pros and cons, if you will, that I thought may occur. And whether it be learning difficulties, whether it be you have a failing school or failing schools, plural, in your district, or whether it be for a safer environment for your child. If your child is underachieving or overachieving and the school is not able to accommodate them, you put together a list of all of those things that you have, the reasons that you may want to homeschool, and just basically stick to that and focus on that, and that will be your reason for wanting to homeschool. And that's pretty much it to begin with. After that, I checked out a book from the library. Just basically a book saying what he would need to learn or what he should be up to for his grade range and for his age range. And after that, I also purchased a workbook. Specifically, I purchased Brain Quest. And we started homeschooling in 4th grade. He's in 5th now. Well, let me take it back a little bit. I was homeschooling him from birth to, I want to say, 4.5, right before he started kindergarten. So we did homeschooling then. However, it was just basically on my terms. So it wasn't official. It was just basically I taught him what I wanted him to know and what I felt he needed to know. And I didn't really have to answer to anyone. I didn't have to, sign any documentation. I didn't have to go to anyone's office. I didn't have to do progress reports. And it was just basically something that, I personally grew up on. My mom did the same thing with me when I was his age. So when I was that age. So that's how I started homeschooling. Tried a charter school for a while, and he was doing okay. And then later on, we said, you know what? I think I want to go back to homeschooling. So we did about 3 to 4 months in a school, contemporary school. And then we homeschooled in February of his 4th grade year. Like I said, gathered together the reasons. And then I got a book from the library. And then also I went and purchased the workbook that basically told me anything that a 4th grader would be learning, or anything for his grade range and his age range, anything from, they have math, it's reading, it's language arts, it's you name it. Like the book it covers everything under the spectrum of learning. I love Brain Quest books. They're really nice. However, Brain Quest only gives you a few pages of each topic, so you're not going to get that in-depth specific learning plan that you need with one book. So this is why Brain Quest I like as a reference, and I also like Brain Quest as a little additive to whatever lessons we're doing for the day. And so after I did that, I researched the homeschool laws in my area for New York State. And I did that by going to the DOE website and I searched homeschool. And so basically there is where I found the requirements and the rules and regulations and whatnot for wanting to homeschool. So after you research the DOE website, laws, rules, and regulations for homeschooling, I would say talk to other homeschool parents if you know of any. If not, you know one now. You can always drop me a line, comment, and I'll definitely get back to you. So like I said, whether it be in person, in Facebook groups, on social media sites, ask questions. Ask questions and ask more questions. Anything that you do not know, anything that you feel like is a question, whether you may feel like the question is so silly or whether you may feel like the question is so important, I would say ask a question. That's the only way you're going to learn. That's the only way you're going to understand how this works. So after you speak with homeschool parents, if you know of any, the next thing you want to do is type up 2 letters. One is called an LOI, and that stands for letter of intent. And the next one is an IHIP, IHIP, and that stands for individualized home instruction plan. You do not have to do both at the same time. However, I just wanted to get them both out of the way, and I just felt more comfortable doing them both at the same time. So you don't have to type them. Once again, I just wanted to make sure that everything was clear and there were no, errors or anything like that. We submitted our LOI and IHIP for 2018-2019 school year. I would say around July, August, maybe. And in your LOI, you must put down that you're going to be following the NYSED Commissioner's Regulation, Part 100.10, Section B. And you also must state your child's name, age, and grade, their OSIS number or their NYCID number, and also your name and your address. And you must sign it and just make sure that you're putting in there what year you plan on homeschooling your child for. So the IHIP is basically you name each subject that you're going to be teaching your child, and you have to list specific lessons for subjects. Also list the dates of the quarterly progress reports that you're going to be giving in. The last report is the overall assessment for the year. But however, when you list your quarterly reports, make sure they are 3 months after one another. So just have that 3-month gap. And those are basically report cards. So you're just going to put down whether your child is on task, whether you feel like they are behind a little, whatever you feel is going on with them in their learning process. Please, please, please be truthful. Don't over exaggerate and don't put something that they're not up to doing, because that's only going to come back to bite you. It's not something that you want to put past when you know that the child is really not where he should be or where she should be, and you put past and they're really, kind of in the middle and they're not really learning the process. It's okay. Just give them that honest opinion and give them that honest feedback. If your child is not learning where they should be, then I would say just work harder on it. And just if you need to bring in tutors, that's fine as well. But just make sure that you give them that honest feedback on your grade and that child's grade of where he or she is learning. Also, another important thing is do not forget to submit your application for Metro cards. A lot of people do not know. Some people do, or they just forget. Homeschoolers do get Metro cards, and that works out amazing when you're trying to go on field trips, or when you're going to the museum, or when you're going to just the zoo. You never know when you may need it. But yes, homeschoolers do get Metro cards, and that's always a plus, right? One of the important things I definitely want to add is that don't overwhelm yourself or your child. Whatever hours suit your schedule, then you do that. If you're a person that works in the morning and you feel like homeschooling at night best suits you and your family, then you do that. If you work evening hours and you feel like homeschooling in the morning best suits your family, then that's what you do. You, believe me, you are capable of homeschooling, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The only reason that you need is that you love your child and you want to see them succeed. Not taking anything away from any school, any type of organization, any type of institution, educational institution, not taking anything away from any teachers. But nobody told me I needed a degree to love my child. Nobody told me I needed a degree to raise my child. So why do I need a degree to homeschool them? The first few months of your homeschooling will most likely be spent reviewing what your child already knows and what they should be up to, and just brushing up on what, they have learned in the past, and just making sure that they've mastered that specific lesson. You're going to go through, in the beginning, a trial and error stage, and that's just basically, you're going to be switching schedules, switching times, and you're going to be pinning and screenshotting everything. You're going to be watching videos. You're going to be in groups, just taking in anything that you can. Any type of information that you can take in about homeschooling, that's going to be in the beginning stages. And I mean, it still happens for a lot of homeschool moms and dads that are homeschooling. We all the time, we have specific saved videos. We have screenshots of certain things that we want to teach our child later on, or just different techniques that we feel like would go best with our homeschooling as well. Like I said, do not overwhelm yourself and do not overwhelm your child, because it makes for a bad day. If you feel like there is a day where it maybe just didn't start out right, maybe your kid woke up cranky, maybe you woke up cranky, take that time, relax, have breakfast together. Whatever you do in the morning, you want to say a prayer, bring yourself back. I know we've all been there. Homeschool moms, homeschool dads can definitely tell you. These days will come, and they may come in the beginning. They may come intermittently. Like I said, there have been times where I have woken up in the morning and I'm like, okay, for some reason, it's just not going the way I planned out in my mind. And so, like I said, you just want to, I want to say a prayer, meditate, whatever you need to do to bring yourself back. Take a brain break. Take 5, 10, 15 minutes. And when you come back, hopefully everything will be running smoothly and you should be able to proceed without any problem. And there will be those days that sometimes you feel like, what did I get myself into? And there will be those days where you feel like, why am I doing this? It is all for the sake of your child. Like I said, you hold on to the reasons in the beginning that you came up with about why you wanted to homeschool your child. You hold on to those reasons. It's basically something that we all go through. It's all natural. It's all perfectly fine. And you will have those days. Sometimes you may have a lot of those days. And there's no reason that you should feel ashamed or you should feel, like you're neglecting your child or anything like that. Believe me, it's natural and it's perfectly fine. Like I said, take a breath, say a prayer, and you'll get through it. If you need someone to talk to, I'm right here. Just let me know. You want to make sure that what you're doing is going to benefit your child in the long run. This is the main objective for the whole homeschooling year. For however long you feel like you want to homeschool, this is your main objective, your child. So you want to fine tune your homeschooling for whatever suits you and your family best. In the beginning, like I said, you're going to want to purchase every book that you see, whether it be from Dollar Tree or whether it be from Walmart, whether it be from Target, any book that you see, or on Amazon, any book that you see, you're going to say, oh my gosh, this would be perfect and I want to purchase it. But you can't purchase every book in the world. Hey, maybe you can, but don't overwhelm yourself. It may sound like a lot, but you'll be more comfortable once you adapt. Once you find homeschool peace and you find that perfect schedule and you find that perfect pace for your child to learn at, believe me, you will feel like, okay, I can do this. and you'll definitely feel more confident within yourself and within your homeschooling. It's one of those things where when you teach your child something, whatever it may be, and they hold on to it, and you come back to it, let's just say the next day or 2 days later, even a week or a month later, and they mastered it and they can reiterate to you what you taught them, and you get that moment of clarity where you're like, yes, this is why I do this. This is amazing. I want to feel like this all the time. You know, we're not always going to feel like that, but for the times that we do, those moments you want to hold on to, because that is what makes the homeschooling worth it. And that is what makes you say, you know what, we can do this and we can get through this. One thing I do also want to say is that you will not, and I repeat, you will not find any set curriculum. The reason why I say you won't find any set curriculum is because everyone is different. Everybody learns different. Every child is different. Each one of us, every one of us is different. And so therefore, you're not going to find your child online. You may not find a set curriculum to suit your child or your schedule or your family, your child's learning abilities. And that's fine. And the reason why you're not going to find it is because we are all different and we all learn different. So setting up a curricula for your family and for your homeschooling is something that you have to work on. I remember searching and searching for what felt like weeks for year-long math curriculum or year-long ELA curriculum, or even for a week or even for a month. And anything that you find online, I would say, is like an educational website, you know, that wants you to pay a specific amount of money, and they set up your individualized homeschooling for you, and they critique it to your child. Now, that's all well and good. If you want to spend that money, that's fine. But if you're looking to do this from a perspective of, you know what, I am going to do this and I'm going to plan this the way that I see fit for my child, then you're not going to be able to find something online. You may be able to find curriculum in bits and pieces. You may be able to find, there's definitely tons of free resources, whether it be worksheets, whether it be coloring pages, whether it be definitions, whether it be spelling words for that week. You can definitely find things like that online, but to have something tailored to suit your child, the individual that you're teaching, you may not find that, because everyone is different. Every one of us learns different. So for you to say, you know what, I found something online that it is based off of, I would say, a month time span or a year time span, it may not work for your child. It may work for the person that posted it, but it may not work for your child, and that's fine. You have to make sure that you find something and that you set in place something that's going to work for your household and that's going to work for your child in the way that your child learns. You know, that's, like I keep saying, and I want to reiterate this and drive this point home. Your source of motivation is 100% number one going to be your child. You know, once homeschooling starts and once you have come to the conclusion that this is something that you want to do, without a doubt, keep your child in the loop. Always ask your child, what do you want to learn about? What are you interested in? You know, your child is your primary reason for doing this. So you basically want to talk with them about learning. Their input is so critical because they're the ones that have to do the learning. So why wouldn't you want to speak with them and make sure they're comfortable with homeschooling? Make sure that they're comfortable with what you're going to be teaching them. When you keep them in the loop and when you get their input, it is going to make it that much easier to have a good day. It's going to make it that much easier to flow through homeschooling, because how are you going to know where they are or where they're supposed to be? You have to make sure that, show them the workbook. And when you buy a workbook, before you buy it, look through it, skim through the pages while you're in the store, or if you're on Amazon. There's a part, where is it? Like, it's a part on Amazon that it lets you see like the first few pages of a book before you buy it. Call your kid over to the computer and say, do you feel like, this is something that you want to do? Do you feel like this is something that we're capable of doing? And, definitely ask them what they're interested in. You can make a lesson out of anything, believe me. My child is particularly a fan of Legos. And what I did was, because he loves Legos, he loves minifigures. So what I did was I asked him, I put up 3 minifigures, and I said, okay, we're going to pretend that these minifigures are going on a road trip, and we're going to go from state to state, and you're going to give me details on where they're going. You're going to give me details on how many miles in between each stop. You're going to give me details on what specific stops that they made in that particular state or city that they visited. And when you keep your child in the loop of what's going on, and when you keep them entertained with the learning, it makes it that much easier. I like to weekly, I would say every Friday we do it. We try to do it every Friday, but sometimes it gets done on Mondays. So I like to do something with my son called a kid conference. And I make it, like it's a round table meeting. And if you need to crack out some cookies and milk, if you need to put out some ice cream, it's just something that you do. So it's called a kid conference, and we have a pen and a pad. And we basically, and I have a homeschool planner. If you want me to go through that on another video, I will do that as well. So we conversed about what's easy, what he feels like it may be too easy for him, what he feels like he may have a struggle on, what he feels like is a little difficult for him. We also converse about things that he's interested in learning. Homeschooling is definitely one of those things that you will see the payoff, in the long run. And it's definitely, I would say it's definitely worth it. If ever you feel like you have any questions or comments or just any type of inquiries at all about homeschooling, I can be definitely found on Instagram at Mrs. Mommy Holiday, and I will leave my page down below. Homeschooling is definitely rewarding. It's definitely one of those things that it's going to change your life. I feel it changed our lives for the better, and you definitely start to have definitely a different outlook on life when it comes to your child's experiences and just what you want them to learn and how you want them to learn it. You'll definitely see a difference in, something as little as maybe going to the park. You will definitely look at it differently, Also, I started a Facebook group, and it's called Homeschool Mom NYC. And so there's where I post tons of free resources, events that go on in NYC. You are welcome to join no matter where you live. It does not matter if you're in NYC. It doesn't matter if you're in North Carolina or Florida. You can definitely join. I just basically started it so you can get a little more clarity and you can get a better understanding of homeschooling for people or for parents, guardians who want to start homeschooling, who may not feel like, well, did I make did I make the best choice? Or, is this going to be right for my family? The reason why I started this group is because I want you to be able to talk to other moms, other dads, other guardians who feel like, you know what, we went through the same thing that you're going through, so let's talk about it. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. But however, I hope you stick around, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it may be a little long, but it was definitely informative. So stick around and stay tuned for the next video. And do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Bye.